Welcome back, growers. It's Thursday, May 1st, and we're here to learn as we grow. Today's conversation is about growing exotic spices at home. You don't need to travel the world to enjoy the rich flavors and aromas of exotic spices. You can grow them right at home. Not only do these plants enhance your cooking, but they also bring beauty, fragrance, and even medicinal benefits to everyone and your space. So, think you need to live in the tropics to grow spices like ginger, turmeric, or even saffron? Think again. And the bonus towards the end is going to be ways to use these spices, meals ideas, and more. So tell me about your spices you grow. Maybe it's paprika or garlic or wasabi. Maybe you don't grow any of this stuff right now, but maybe you want to. What would be on your wish list? Stuff like that. Tell me in the comments on the replay. When we're talking about growing your own spices at home, there's three types of ways to grow. There's your seed spice, your underground spice, and your perennial spice. So seed spices must flower to produce abundant seeds. Examples are coriander, dill, fennel, fenugreek, nigella, cumin, sesame, mustard, caraway. Any of these sound familiar? Oh my goodness, storms. Hello. I try not to think too much. Make smoke come out of my ears. Underground spices. So the spices harvested for their rhizomes, roots, enlarged stems, and bulbs require deeper, more fertile soil. Examples of those are ginger, turmeric, garlic, wasabi, and horseradish. And then that perennial spice category, depending on your zone, or if you have access to growing indoors or a heated greenhouse, there's cardamom, vanilla, cinnamon, peppercorns. These kinds of things require a long-term commitment to care, right? It's year after year. So let's look at these spices closer. Ginger. Here's a picture of ginger planted. This one's pretty common. Grow ginger indoors year round, or start them in the spring. I start mine indoors, yep, and move outside in the pots in the summer. Likes warmth and filtered light. Yeah, I've been told to put them in a shady spot, not direct sun, and harvest after 8 to 10 months. Let's see. Containers should be 12 inches deep and wide with good drainage. I'm reading my notes about ginger here. That's the only picture I have. Okay. Part shade to full sun. I grew it in 4 hours of sunlight, is this article, not me specifically, and got the same exact yield. Looking for any more information. We do have the links to the descriptions. No, the links to the articles in the description. So you can read all about it, right? So we have turmeric, same setup as ginger, start indoors in early spring, needs a long warm season, so best grown in containers, harvest late fall before frost. Information about turmeric: likes the sun, but it's sensitive to scorching. So full sun to part shade, afternoon shade if it gets over 90 degrees where you are. Arizona gardeners utilize shade cloth to protect the turmeric. A location that has good drainage where you can easily adjust the moisture they are receiving. Here is what it looks like after they've grown and being harvested. The first picture was them planting it. Let's see here. Looking for more information. 10 to 12 inches for a container is adequately deep. Here's what it looks like in the container for turmeric. The rhizomes won't need excessive fertilizer prior to sprouting. I heard that things like this in ginger were hungry though. So go-tos are alfalfa meal, kelp meal, rock dust, Planting it is the same as the ginger. You saw the picture. I'm scrolling to see if it tells me any more things. Mildly damp but not soggy. We don't want rotting happening. Top them off with compost. Here, when we get to the harvesting time, it looks like this at the top. And then they dump out the container, and wha-bam, we'll have them exposed. Pretty cool. Galangal is the next thing to talk about. Another tropical rhizome grows well in containers like ginger, needs consistent warmth and humidity. Provide a location in the garden that receives full sun for much of the day. It's best grown in zones 9 and higher. If you are in an area with excessive heat, prepare to water it more frequently. That's all very important. Having a good soil mix with top dress with compost and mulch. So here's the plant for galangal. Galangal grows from a rhizome. So transplanting rhizomes, propagating from the rhizome. This is harvest time. I've never seen this at all. Galangal. Okay, so well established and grow for 10 months to a year before gathering the roots. The variety should be around 6 feet tall. Well, I guess that depends on the variety. Some are 6 feet tall, some are 3 feet tall. I've never heard of it. Use a pitchfork or a potato fork to get it out. Storing it. Do I have another picture? Yeah. Here it is all cleaned up. Store it in an airtight container for a couple weeks, but it's prone to drying out. To store whole roots, wrap them in a damp cloth and put them in the fridge or freezer. And they can be dehydrated and powdered. Okay. Bay laurel is the next one. Let's see here. A hardy herb in pots, grow indoors near a sunny window, can go outside in summer and then bring in for the winter. Keep your indoor bay laurel tree near a sunny window in the winter, avoiding exposure to drafts and heat from appliances and air ducts. Oh, that's a good tip. Outdoor plants prefer partial shade, but will tolerate full sun. In areas with hot, dry summers, afternoon shade is ideal, so that helps with where it's supposed to be. Ideal pH range is 6 to 7. Okay. Loamy, sandy, even clay soils, they're not too picky apparently. Just with a container and a potting mix, keep it fed. Water regularly, but don't overwater it, right? If you are in a grow zone below 8, you will have to bring your bay tree inside. It will not make it outside. There are a few different types. So knowing if you have to bring it inside in the winter, don't buy one that gets 25 feet tall, right? It would be cool to have like a little bay tree. Do they have like a micro dwarf? I don't have any space anywhere for anything. But that'd be cool to have, right? The saffron crocus. Hardiness zone 4 to 9, growing in full sun, well-draining soil. For 1 tablespoon of saffron spice, which is the red you see here in the picture, you'll need about 50 to 60 flowers. It's propagated by corms, a bulb. So if you're in USDA zones 3 to 6, plant them in August. And if in USDA zones 7 to 10, try for September. So here is the harvested, the red part, the saffron crocus. We're going to go over the meal ideas at the end. Next one we can talk about for exotic spices to try and grow at home is cardamom. More challenging but possible in a humid indoor environment or a small greenhouse. Treat it like a tropical houseplant, indirect light, high humidity. Let's see here. Cardamom prefers part to full shade, avoiding planting in direct sun. It's something that grows under tall trees in tropical conditions, like in the native rainforest, if you try to mimic that. Potting mix with compost, that's well draining, of course. Prefers acidic conditions, 5.1 to 5.6.1, 6.5. Mist, cardamom frequently with rainwater. Water regularly, but do not overwater. The misting thing I've heard about with citrus too. Um, they grow where it barely ever gets below 72 degrees, and it suffers dramatically if it's ever below 50. Interesting. There's different types of cardamom. They're talking about green and black, harvesting. It's the third most expensive spice by weight, just behind saffron and vanilla. I believe I have cardamom powder in my spice situation. We have a couple more to talk about before we get to recipes. Oh, I did see Gandalf was here. Hello. Um, yeah, I came back and John's live was done, and you're at Steve's. Okay. Oh, I can check on there later. Your internet is in and out with the last little storm. Oh, nobody's at Steve's live either? I didn't even get a notification about it, I don't think. Hey, it's Howie, Food Forest Permaculture. Greetings, Earthlings. Good to see you. What day is it? Yeah, it's Thursday. I don't know what everybody's doing. That's okay. The replay is always available. So for exotic spices, we also have the vanilla orchid. Needs tropical temps, humidity and space, best for greenhouse growers. And then the clove or cinnamon trees. Can you imagine? They're tropical trees. Maybe if you have a heated greenhouse. I don't know details about these as far as how big are they going to get, right? Maybe you live in an area where you wouldn't need to think about that. You can just have them outside. So our bonus edible landscaping, wait, I didn't edit that right. The bonus ways to use our exotic spices, the recipes and meal ideas is what we're talking about now. So ginger was on the list. So we can have ginger tea, of course. You can make ginger chews, stir fries, marinades, desserts. Ginger honey tea for immune support, stir fried veggies with soy ginger glaze, ginger carrot soup, ginger molasses, cookies. Hold on, I hear mischief happening. Oh boy. Uh, Okay, I'm back. Howie's still with us. Excellent waiting skills you have. So we talked about uses for ginger. Next is our turmeric. Ways to use it: curries, rice dishes, smoothies, soups, meals, or golden milk, turmeric latte, turmeric spice, roasted cauliflower, chicken or chickpea curry, turmeric rice with peas and mint. Oh, wow. Galangal. Tim, what are you doing? Hello. We're talking about exotic spices, what's on the grow list, and ways to use it. Some you have to kind of alter their living environment, like a heated greenhouse, or maybe you have somewhere indoors that would be great for them to be. Tuck by V1, good evening. Welcome to the conversation. Let's see here. So galangal uses in Thai and Southeast Asia dishes, broths, meals, tom kha gai, Thai coconut chicken soup, galangal lime stir fry with shrimp, homemade curry paste, spicy galangal noodle soup. Again, never heard of it. Saffron, that crocus that we showed, uses in rice dishes, stews, desserts, meals, saffron rice or paella, Persian saffron chicken, saffron infused custard or panna cotta. Oh, we have a French seafood stew, bouillabaisse. Nope, I don't think that bouillabaisse. I don't know how to say it. And then using those bay leaves. Hugo Homestead, welcome to the conversation. As you come in, let us know, do you grow any spices? And maybe you have a wish list of spices you wish you grew. Let us know. So the bay leaves, uses in soup, stews, sauces, slow-cooked dishes, meals, the hearty beef stew with bay leaf, classic tomato sauce, chicken and rice pilaf, vegetable broth base. It would be neat to have a little bay tree in the kitchen, right? Cardamom, uses in baking, teas, curries, rice dishes, meals, cardamom spice chai tea, Swedish cardamom buns, cardamom infused basmati rice, creamy rice pudding with cardamom. So think about what you want to grow or what you want to try. Making your own spice blends like gram masala with cardamom, curry powder with turmeric, or chai spice with ginger and cardamom. You can always infuse oils or honey with ginger, turmeric, or bay for custom flavor boosts. So let's see. Does anyone want to grow wasabi? I know that peppercorn sounds super interesting, but if I looked it up before, it was one of those things that I would have to start indoors and maybe take it back indoors because I'm in Minnesota and there's lots of cold here. And I think the growing time for that was outside of my range, right? So I'm just going to review quickly the 3 types of ways to grow spices. There's growing it for the seed, growing it underground, and having something perennial for your spice repertoire. The seed spices must flower to produce abundant seeds like coriander, dill, fennel, fenugreek, nigella, cumin, sesame, mustard, and caraway. The underground spices we spoke about, spices harvested for the rhizomes, roots, and large stems, and bulbs that require deeper, more fertile soil like ginger, turmeric, garlic, wasabi, horseradish. The perennial spices, depending on where you are, cardamom, vanilla, cinnamon tree, the peppercorns, they require that long-term commitment to care. In the chat, we have Gandalf is back. Hello. Here we go. Hugo Homestead. I'm only growing oregano, sage, rosemary, dill, the basics. I like it. The classics, right? We know what to do with those. You set it and forget it, right? Tuck by V1. I currently grow a couple of herbs. If I ever have a yard again, I'd like to grow the bay laurel, pepper, garlic, ginger, turmeric, coriander, dill, and mustard. Fantastic list. I am growing my turmeric and ginger for the first time this year, and it will be in containers. I had to start them inside, so they're going. That's kind of like the new thing this year for what to grow for spices. I want to get really good at growing peppers, which so far so good. I'll probably do, if I can find time, live streaming tomorrow. I'll show the tray of peppers that I've got started and we can talk about fun stuff, do whatever, like a chill chat, because I want to be able to smoke them on the grill and finish drying them in a dehydrator, store them dried, powder them when I need paprika, right? Or rehydrate it and blend it for a sauce, stuff like that. So, um, again, if I could grow my own peppercorns, that would save me so much money because I go through a lot of pepper. Dill, I used to just grow bouquet dill before like the head because I was pickling so much. But now I like the dill that stays more frondy instead of bolting to a beautiful like seedy flower head. So that's changed for sure. I love planting mustard, not for the greens, but for when it goes to make the pretty yellow flowers. And then I've never done anything with the seed, like ground my own mustard. I don't think I'm going to do that, but that would be cool, right? Let's see. Coriander is cilantro that's gone to seed. I definitely can do that. But what do I do with it after that? I don't know. I don't know what to do with it. It's not in my like comfort zone of spices. It's very easy to throw peppercorns in broth. Coriander might be the same application for sure when I make broth because I make that often. It's a good list. Tucked by V1, I have very limited growing options. I have rosemary, chive, oregano, Mexican mint, and lemongrass. That was one of the exotic things you can grow is lemongrass if you know what ideas of what to do with it. It's not something I cook with regularly, but you can always learn, right? Rosemary, I tried the whole like keeping it going out all year round, like have it in a container, bring it inside because it gets too cold here. And it just got not very flavorful. Like it looked fine until it wasn't fine because I accidentally got it too cold because I took it out too early. But it just made me think, first of all, I don't need that much rosemary. And the fresh ones are just better. So like being better at propagating fresh growth and just having a fresh new baby one as an aromatic to dishes. Chives I've got established in the food forest, but it's not something I use frequently. And I do have a container of chives here at the home. But again, I'm not reaching for it. Like I made eggs today. Did I put chives on it? No. I never can remember to use the thing, right? Never had Mexican mint. If I wanted to get something like in the mint family and let it go wild, it'd be lemon balm. I would do that for sure. It is always good to see storms, radios, and cats. That's right. Gandalf says, Shawnee, the butter lettuce I planted last spring didn't come up until this year. It's 6 inches tall now. I had a lettuce. I don't remember what it was at this point. It was a lettuce patch that eventually bolted, right? Of course, that's what happens. And it made their seeds. And I didn't collect them, I just let them blow all over the place. And we had winter, like full on cold for very, very cold for at least a whole month, plus snow and melting and snow and blah blah blah. And now the lettuce has germinated out there and I have free lettuce growing. They're probably 2 inches right now. Isn't that the craziest thing? So this is something I kind of wanted to talk about in a chill and chat, but I'll say it here now. Don't be so afraid when things bolt. Yes, uh, it can be disheartening because you're like, oh, now that is going to taste bad. But if you let it go to seed, ride it out. Even just having the flower, it's good for pollinators, right? Tim says CV is going to start all the hot peppers. She's been saving seeds from her hot sauce peppers. I'm definitely not interested in making hot sauce just because I don't have a use for it. Tuck by V1, I just got into making refrigerator pickles. So I'd really like to grow dill. You should do it. Grow the dill. Oh, you put chives in oatmeal? I wish I could eat oatmeal. I would save so much money on food if I could just be an oatmeal eater. I've never been able to have it, right? I just can't. The Grove's Bargain Emporium. Steph, hey y'all. Good to see you here. We're chit-chatting about exotic spices to grow at home. Oh, look at South Florida Sunshine Tropicals grows all kinds of exotic spices, I'm sure. We've gone through all the images I had, and all of the articles are linked in the description. Let me open the description here. There's other stuff, so we'll talk about that. In the month of May, there is a huge sale with the company called GreenStalk, and if you've never ordered from them before, you can get $10 off your first order. Link is in the description. We also have videos, most profitable spices to grow, best spice farming businesses. A YouTube video is in the description, and one video specifically for the saffron crocus, because I feel like that's sort of a trendy thing in the last 2 years that I've heard about. I don't think it's too hard to grow. I've never harvested them. Like, I just grow them for a pretty flower. I don't grow them to eat them. Will that change this year? Perhaps. Um, I'm just looking at the description. So that was this one. Check out the description. Yep. Okay. Back to this comment section. Okay, that's where I left off. Carol says, "Hey, Holly, good to see you. Told a messenger group about your channel and your Pathway Soul Bank and his Hugel Mound and the Rocky Hill Food Forest. And we got to share all the fun gardeners around. Oh, and Mr. Stephanie made it. Hey, you came. Do you guys grow exotic spices, or do you have a wish list? I mean, you could even say, can you say coffee is an exotic spice? No, maybe, but some people can grow it. And Carol, I was thinking of you when we were talking about ginger. Um, I think I read in Florida you can grow it all year round, and I can't remember. Do you grow ginger in your backyard garden? We were just talking about compost, but thank you. I'm behind on everyone's channel. Yeah, compost, great stuff. We've talked about compost here before. If you haven't caught the replays on the previous live streams, what have we been doing? Let's see. I know we talked about the superfood strawberries and all the ways to grow it, and containers and methods and varieties. What did we talk about yesterday? Edible landscaping, right? Things and methods and how to plan out planting food to eat as landscaping in different zones of your property. Oh, Tuck by V. I've grown ginger here in South Florida. And then this galangal thing. I have a galangal, a type of ginger, and regular organic ginger to go in, sprouted inside. Fantastic. Well, I feel like if you can grow ginger, you can grow turmeric, right? Yeah, it's always fun to learn, like, once something goes to a seed, the seed is very much usable in a lot of situations, right? So, if you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe for more gardening chats, conversations, live streams. We do have a podcast called Learn as You Grow. You can listen to it right here on YouTube. And for your upcoming schedule, all I have figured out is like a chill and chat. We can show the plants that I have growing so far. We can talk about things outside that are growing here in my area. We can play words on stream and have a little game night. That's sort of what I have prepared, if you want to say that, because I do spend some time with the topic, information, finding the articles, setting up the information to present it. So I understand what I'm talking about to a point. I don't have experience in a lot of the things, so I have to rely on other people's experiences, and I haven't done any brainstorming. If you want to throw out conversations you want to have, I will put them in my notebook because I do have stuff in there that I haven't put the time to research. That'll be someday, I'm sure. Carol says, Tuck, where do your gingers seem to be happy? Yeah, the sun touches mine and the grains bleach. Will they do better down here in the shade? Even in Indiana, they want the shade. When we were talking about growing ginger, it definitely said shade cloth. if you don't have actual shade. So yeah, tucking it under a tree somewhere, that's just based on reading. Was it Tuck? Yeah, Tuck has experience, so share with us. Carol says, I had mine in what was dappled, but my banana mat opened up, taking down 2 large plants and bleached my galangal. Howie says, I joined a flower guild, so I'm going to the city more often as it is the hub for flower shows. Well, that's exciting. Tuck by V1 says, Carol, they only get sun half the day due to the building's shadow. At my old place, grew them under a big awning. Yeah, it talked about growing them so they do not get any afternoon sun at all. If that exists where you are. A spot. And that is very cool, right? So Carol says, going to try under my strangler fig. Gandalf says, episode suggestion, toxins and compost. Toxins and compost. Things that come to mind with that. Like what not to put in compost because it makes a toxin, or putting a matter in the compost that actually has like a broadleaf pesticide attached to it. And so when you go to use the compost, your plants won't grow in it. Is that kind of what you're thinking, Gandalf? Carol just says, yikes. My days of the week have been way off. I keep having to remind myself what day it is. It is Thursday, in case you're wondering. For those of us live with us. Putting up my art show. Howie says, putting up my art show vids this weekend. The art was mostly flowers and trees, some wild crafting as well. I found out about possibly being able to get some new flowers to plant soonish, which is exciting. I don't know much detail though. Carol says definitely not using grass clippings from weed and feeding neighbors. Yeah. So if Gandalf, if you're still here, are those kind of the things you're talking about when you say toxins and compost? Tuck by V1, Zone 11B here. Whoa, just northwest of Fort Lauderdale. F-18s flew over your house today. Gandalf says a lot of groceries have fungicides and other toxins. Yeah, and I think to dig deeper, recognizing different fungi or microorganisms that break down which type of toxins, having a balance, like those are all things you could add to the conversation when we talked about toxins and compost. Depending on if you're doing hot composting, when your compost gets to X amount temperature, what all happens to things like that if you're concerned, right? Carol says, I have been wanting to paint again. Oh, really? To Howie, good for you. Artsy creativity is healing. I know I have requested Mushroom Mark to make some paintings. That used to be all our walls were his paintings or local artists, and now it's homeschool stuff is this wall, and then my kids' art, which is great. But I requested maybe we should put some new artwork up because he's not the same mind center painter as he was, not going to say how many years ago, but how many years ago. Gandalf Smith says some of those toxins don't break down easily. And it's sometimes people want stuff right now, right? And some of us are okay with letting it sit and ride and just use it in a year, the compost conversation. Howie says govern accordingly when accepting biomass for making soil. Right. Lay down the law of what you will accept and not accept, general rules. It is a risk, definitely. Carol was talking to Gandalf, clarifying beautiful idea of the toxins and compost is forever chemicals is what you're meaning, Gandalf? Um, I mean, even talking about things that say they're compostable, maybe it's packaging, right? That says it's compostable and you try it, you throw it in and nothing ever happens to it. Have you ever had that happen before? Tuck by V1 says the landscapers used to spray weed killers on a section of shrubbery here. It took a few years for anything to grow there, and still only certain plants will take. This is reminding me of not an article. It was somebody in my gardening group from Minnesota that shared a story, and I'm trying to remember the details. They planted so many trees on like this corner of their property because they didn't want to see the road, right? I mean, it was like $9,000 worth of trees, and they were very large. They had been there a while. And the utility company had to do some work, and they took every single tree out. Like we saw before and after pictures, and it was the city who orchestrated this, and we were trying to ask him like, "Are you going to be compensated?" Like obviously that was ridiculous, and like, well, are they going to give you money back? And then their biggest question is what can I plant there now? Because I still don't want to see the road. Like, I would be so heartbroken during that whole process, you know? And that wasn't sprayed, that was just ripped out. Carol says, when we first got married, my husband said I needed to make the artwork since I was an artist. I tried, but then sold, gave away, and put some out. I got frustrated with. All the artwork that we still have that is of mushroom marks, I just have seen it enough. It's so I did say, can you make some new art? Because we haven't had art on the walls in like 10 years, I feel like. Carol says, yikes, they were using it way too concentrated. Well, and it's like right now here in my area, everyone wants to spray the dandelions. And so I had to talk to my kids about we cannot walk around and pick dandelions in other people's yards because it could have chemicals on it. And I'm so sorry because they love bringing them to me. We love talking about them. But you can't. You don't know. Let's see. Some of the landscapers use chemicals they have no license to use. Vay's Place, 10th like and good evening. Hey, Vay's Place. We were talking about growing exotic spices at home. Now we're kind of just chit-chatting. Tuck by V says, carefully corralled bamboo to block the road. Corralled. So does bamboo grow in zone 5? I can't remember what the suggestions were. I read it, I think, yesterday, but I can't remember. Howie says, I am losing 10 trees on my street, and the city is planting 30 more. Oh, they're planting 30 more. Sidewalks and new road pavement. Okay, so they have to take the trees out to do this reconstruction of road and sidewalk, but then they're going to plant 30 more. Okay, question, Howie. Have you suggested to the board of whoever's doing this or how it works there? I don't know. What trees to put? The 30 trees? Like, do you know? Have you heard? Did you say? Do you care? um, Carol says in Florida there are special licenses for pesticides because of our aquifer. Well, we have huge agriculture and lakes here, so you're darn right that you have to have permission to use what you're putting that's going to run off into places here in my situation. Oh, Dave Knight, howdy everyone. Yes, things like turmeric based place. So what we've talked about here, let me take that off. And so going back up. So we covered sort of the categories of to grow a spice. What does that even mean? There's the spices that are the seeds, there's the ones that grow underground, and then there's, depending on where you are, your perennial spices. And so examples for your seed spices are coriander, dill, fennel, fenugreek, nigella, cumin, sesame, mustard, caraway. Your underground spices the rhizomes, the roots, the stems, the bulbs, like ginger, turmeric, garlic, wasabi, and horseradish. And then maybe you have perennial spices, cardamom, vanilla, cinnamon trees, peppercorns. Wouldn't that be fun? We specifically broke down ginger, turmeric, galangal, bay laurel, that bay tree, saffron crocus, cardamom, vanilla orchid, clove and cinnamon trees, and we talked about ways to use them. We've talked about things that we do grow or we want to grow. Carol says, only clumping bamboo, please. You can ruin land with some of the non-native bamboos. I've never seen bamboo grow here. Tuck says, I don't know, different varieties have different climate tolerances. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've never seen it here. Tuck says, Carol, I finally tried some, is it nopal? You're not allergic to it. Was that a concern? You thought you tried something that you might have been allergic to? Dave slipped in quietly. Hey, Jody Genealogy, what's up? Do you grow exotic spices? Do you use exotic spices in your cooking? Howie says native trees will be planted. Okay, also I will rip out ones I don't like and plant what I want in the middle of the night. The phantom tree strikes again. Ooh. See, I wondered if you thought ahead about this. Carol says, cool, what is it supposed to help? Okay, yeah, what was it called? Nope, no, I don't know how to say it. Noble? Never heard of that. Don't know what that's for. Oh, here we go. It's an edible cactus. Oh, it's very hardy and very easy to propagate. Well, that's fascinating. So, do you eat it raw or cooked? I guess is my next question. I don't know anything about eating cactus, tell you that. Vase place, I think on house is growing nopal here. Carol says some guy is growing biga bamboo in Tennessee and it just eats land. Oh. Oh, DCBs! Welcome to Thursday. Talking about exotic spices and whatever. Dave Knight, get your cape and mask for Howie in the night. There's a couple places where I've had conversations with people and we're like, so you want to go load up the truck and go plant a bunch of trees there? Carol wants to know if it's the paddle cactus. Okay, so I could try to do some work here. It has pads. Does that make it a paddle cactus? Ooh, eating methods. Where'd that go? Prickly pear cactus can be eaten raw and cooked. To prepare it, remove the spines and trim the edges. It can be sliced into strips, diced, or chopped. Salads, tacos, soups, grilled, seasoned. Let's look at pictures. I want a nice picture. This one's big. Ooh, look at the flower. Okay, open. Yep, we're sharing that one. Ta-da. Is this it? Howie says, for sure, Dave. Guerrilla gardening, my next new hobby. Yes, everyone, try it. DCB says, hello, everyone. I hope you're all having a wonderful evening. You sauteed the cactus. Okay. Carol says, yeah, I want to do a live on guerrilla gardening. For sure. I think we could talk about that indefinitely. Vase Place, Shawnee. It was one house about a half-mile from me that has it growing in their yard. Well, that is cool. Carol says, seen it chopped and sauteed. Yes, wide, thin, oval pads. Excellent survival plant. Ooh, that's a good question. Let's look at the information. Let's see. I don't really like that answer. I'm looking for more like, I don't know. It says high in antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals. So, okay. I mean, studies have shown that it does a whole bunch of medical things that are good to manage certain medical things. What is this? Oh, it's the same thing. Okay. I thought it was a new plant. DCB's Gorilla Beekeeping will get you stung up. Bees get real, spicy in the dark. Does that count? Tuna. What? Um, Vase Place, yeah, that's it. But the one near me isn't as big. Yeah, that one was huge. Tuck says it had a citrusy note. Oh, tasting notes. Yeah, let's hear about it. I think it'll be good in chicken soup. Hmm. Carol says, I just have never had a cactus pear I like. I like yellow dragon fruit, she says. Probably high in fiber. Yeah, it didn't give me very. I would have had to spend some time looking for information, which is hard to do when, the whole dead air thing, I'm not saying anything. And I'm not lit up tonight, and so there's nothing on the shelves. It's just, we're here, okay? We're here. Carol says, laugh out loud, DCB. Someone got in trouble. A passionate kid wanting to help the bees, but I think she had them too close to suburbia. Oh boy, tucked by V1. You can literally drop a nopal pad on the ground and grow an entire plant. It's that easy. Carol says, yes, easy propagation. I might need to come get a pad from you, Tuck. DCB says, your facial reactions are very humorous sometimes, Shawnee. Try living with me. I have no control over this, okay? It just does what it wants. I've always been this way. And so one of my kids is going to get it, I'm sure. Howie says, bedtime. Good night, Earthlings. After you die, your molecules will be in trees and creatures. Night, Shawnee. This was awesome. That was okay. Carol says, good night, Howie. Can't wait to see your art. Yes, please be subscribed to Food Forest Permaculture if you are not. Let's see here. Getting the link. There. If you don't know Food Forest Permaculture, head on over there and subscribe. Okay, Dave Knight says, I drink prickly pear juice to help with the prostate. Oh, you have lots on your property? Okay, so wait a minute. What zones does this grow in? I mean, obviously not outside all the time for me. Zone 7 to 10. I don't believe that it's 4 to 11. I mean, 11 was proven here, but 4? But there might be a species that can tolerate 3? A cactus? In Minnesota. For real? Or do you bring it inside? Oh, geez, there's a ton of different kinds of prickly pear. So maybe you haven't had one that's tasty because you didn't have the good variety. Well, I'll have to talk to other Minnesotans and see what they know. I like juicing stuff. Shawnee and I would probably be awful at. Oh, I am. I have been proven to be awful at poker, just based on how long it takes for me to make a decision. It was, if I had a good hand, I made the decision quickly. If I had a bad hand, it took me forever. They didn't even have to look at my face. Carol says, you doing saw palmetto and raw pumpkin seeds too? Dave Knight, great for it too. Oh, the pumpkin seeds came up and is what is his channel? Gal? I don't know. I don't know how to find it quickly without getting lost over on the other screen. The title of the video was like meals or foods to fight inflammation, and he had a whole spiel about pumpkin seeds for men. And because I know that they're good for women during certain seasons, we should have pumpkin seeds. He was making a bar. I want to say Gaz Oakley, but I don't know if that's his name. You're zone 6A, and you're saying you grow it outside or it's in the greenhouse? The cactus. David Carlisle, hello. We're talking about growing exotic stuff. I know Gandalf said earlier about a tree for coffee or growing coffee well, and I didn't click on it now that I think about it, and it's lost now. Carol says, I wear emotions reactions on my face too, like the song Eyes Don't Lie. Vase places, yes, you can grow nopal cactus, also known as prickly pear cactus, in Ohio. Specifically, the eastern prickly pear cactus is native to Ohio. Oh, for all of you in Ohio, there you go. Yeah, Tuck. Yep, different varieties. Learning new things. GCBs, that is called a tell, shoddy. Yeah, the tell thing. A real big one. Yeah. I don't play that game. Oh, Carol's trying to say Minnesota, and everyone wants to be like Minnesota. Pumpkin seeds are good for you, good fiber. Good for all humans, right? Unless you're allergic. Hey, Bowtie Life in the Garden. I can't see the video, but I wanted to check in and say hello. It is good to see you popping in your head. I'm sure you're very busy. Or maybe you're going blind. I don't know. I'm just kidding. Carol says, for real, DCBs, how are the girls doing? Exotic stuff. Yeah, so we talked about like ginger, turmeric, and okay, let's see. Galangal, bay laurel trees, a bay tree, saffron crocus, cardamom, vanilla orchid, clove and cinnamon trees, wasabi, horseradish. Garlic isn't very exotic, but it's a spice, right? Growing spices just for the seeds. So your coriander, dill, fennel, fenugreek, nigella, cumin, sesame, mustard, caraway, just, even like a pepper to grow, to have mature, to put on the grill and then dehydrate and powder for a spice, right? Okay, I have to figure out where we. Okay, that was that one. DCB said I would need a forest of coffee to grow to cover the amount I drink. Dave Knight says outside. You're the same as the Northern Ohio. Wow, that's pretty cool. And Carol goes, "Hey there, Bowtie. You can't see Shawnee." And Bowtie says, "I don't have internet access to stream video here on the edge of the Atlantic off the Bahamas." Well, what are you doing on YouTube when you're there? Good to know. Good to know. Everyone, that's top secret information. David Carlisle, lemons and bananas, and I'm not in the tropics. Yeah, I feel like that counts to this conversation. Um, you're growing something that you're not supposed to grow there, but you made it work, right? Bowtie says, "Hey, Vay, I'll watch this on replay when we get home." Exotic herbs sound great. Yeah, we looked at pictures and growing tips, and then we talked about meal ideas or ways to use them as well. Be careful in the Bahamas. Well, when isn't it wild there, Carol? Come on. DCBs. Oh, they are doing well this spring, Carol. One of them is getting her third box to grow in. Vase Place. I would love to get some wasabi seeds. Well, I did not show wasabi type, like specifics. No, I don't want to do that. Asking me questions about stuff. The plant is a member of the Brassica family. I didn't know that. The plant's rhizome, when grated, produces the spicy paste. So the rhizome, let's see here. There was different types too. Like some of them aren't super spicy. And I think I have an article in the description, but I wanted to find something different. Honestly, what's this one? Nope, that's not a good website. What's this one? Don't mind me while I'm silently reading. Grows along streams in the mountains? Really? The rhizome can take 3 years to reach maturity. Well, that's bring it in, take it out, bring it in, take it out. If I were to do that, not that I want to, but there's the paste conversation, and then it went to horseradish, which I read that some wasabi at the stores is just horseradish dyed green. What? Lies, they tell us. Wasabi japonica plant, member of the mustard family. It's funny looking. I could look at pictures together if I find a nice one. I want to see it growing. What? All of these are harvested. Maybe this is the plant part. I want to see the plant. Sorry for going on a tangent on this. Okay, you can grow real wasabi at home, but the best way to do it is with plant starts, not seeds. One reason for this is because there's some confusion growing it from seed. Zones 8 to 10. Light. Direct sunlight is not tolerated by wasabi. Make sure the plants are shaded. Let's show another picture here. If growing in containers, use 1 or 2 gallon pot with a 10-inch planting depth. Regular watering. Consistent warmth. Below freezing or above 80 kills the plant. So some coastal locations such as Pacific Northwest provide the suitably cool temperature weather for growing wasabi. Obviously, if it's in a container, you can move it around. Daruma is tolerant of high temperatures than varieties. Fuji Daruma is fast growing, ready to harvest in the same year it's planted. Green Thumb is a good choice for edible leaves. Sanpu was developed to grow well in poor soil, and Mazuma is the slow growing variety that takes the 3 years for the roots to mature. When harvesting, you won't be able to harvest the rhizomes of most wasabi plants until the 2nd year. Keeping reading. Pruning. Okay. Well, sure. We learned some stuff. DCBs, our bloom cycle is about 2 or 3 weeks ahead this spring. All this abnormal nice weather is speeding things up. That's what happens. Carol says, Diva and I both would love a cinnamon tree. Yeah. Have you ordered one? Or can you not grow it? Does it get too hot for it? Tuck by V1. It would be awesome to be able to make smoked paprika. Yeah, I have peppers growing specifically to smoke and dry to make my own smoked paprika. Vay says not so much hard to get but expensive. Bowtie says cruising. Yep, Disney cruise to Tortola, and St. Thomas on way back now via Bahamas tomorrow. DCB says they are even making a little spring honey. I'll try pulling it if they don't eat it before it's ready. Dave Knight says the honey locust tree is old native cure-all. I brew the pods in beer to make it sweeter. Well, that is an amazing little tip. Carol says they have been offing people more often. What? That doesn't surprise me. There's all kinds of drama. Doesn't surprise me one bit. We've been hearing about that for years. Bowtie says smoked paprika would be awesome. DCB says I think I should be able to grow my numbers of hives and maybe even make some honey this year. That's amazing. Carol says, wish my nerves can handle a cruise. Well, my brain and body does not do any kind of traveling. um, Dog sitting is a problem. You got to have something or place or person to watch the dog or the property. And that Carol has Disney points too. Bowtie says, I grow lots of ginger and turmeric. This is my first year trying it. DCB says, but with the added sunshine now, it means we will be drier come summer and fall, so I'll need to have more sugar on hand to make syrup for them. It's a lot of work, DCBs. Carol says, I think you do the smoking yourself, Bowtie. Carol says, yep, heard that too about wasabi. Mobius 981. My black mustard seeds are emerging, and I have chicory seedlings coming up, both new to me. That's amazing. What are your plans with the black mustard seeds? Faux sabi. Yeah, like the horseradish dyed green. Um, Carol says to DCB's, glad you had a better season. Yeah. DCB's, my mother ate wasabi thinking, oh no, thinking it was guacamole, and it did not end well. Bowtie says, y'all have a blessed day. See y'all soon. You get home on Saturday. Is that laundry day then? DCB says, winter was difficult, Carol, but we learned a lot. I made it with 50%. Next winter will be better. Always room for improvement and always expect it to be colder than you think. Carol says, hey there, Mobius. Chicory for roasting as a coffee alternative? That's a good question. What's your chicory plan, too? Carol says to Bowtie, making great memories. Mobius says to Carol, we shall see. I think it'll be pretty plant regardless. Just good to have in a pinch. Right? Carol says, our bloom cycle is early too, and then the drought is causing stunting of tropicals. And the cinnamon does grow, so maybe it's too big of a tree for your yard. I mean, pots, containers, maybe? Mobius, I up-potted my nettle seedling, and I think they'll need to be planted tomorrow. Huge. Silly things. Well, that's exciting. Nettle is one of those plants that we speak highly about. I feel like I have to sneeze? No? DCBs. It's okay, Carol. The survivors are the strongest, better acclimated ones. They are the bees that will be better to build off of in long run. Winter can be good tool, actually. Yes, 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 yes. Carol says, right, like how premise that make it our spicy survivors. DCBs says they tilled the CSA farm across from me this last weekend. They'll be planting soon. Oh, I love hearing about what's getting planted where. We've had a lot of rain, so no one's in the fields right now. Mobius, black mustard could be great greens. We shall see. And then seeds. Yeah, I assumed you were growing it for the seeds. For it to flower and do the seedy thing. Yes. Carol says the black mustard leaves look actually black. I might want those seeds. Nope. They look green to me. Maybe I'm looking at the wrong plant. You tell me, Mobius. It melted. That is hysterical. I'm sorry. DCBs, can you grind all the types of mustard? I plant a whole lot of white mustard for the bees. It grows fast and blooms. Yeah. Plus, it's cheap and you get a lot of seeds. Can you make mustard out of all types of mustard seed? Is the question. Yellow, brown, black. It says yellow seeds are the mildest flavor, brown seeds are intermediate, and black seeds are the most assertive. Are all mustard seeds edible? What kind did you say it was? White mustard? Maybe I'll type that in. It says, yeah, you can make mustard from it. From white mustard seeds. Okay. You should try it. Mobius says, Carol, yes, black. Also extremely hot mustard. The leaves are black? It wasn't on the plant I looked at. But this was just a quick thing. Carol says, yes, probably would be too big once it's a good harvestable size. Yes, it's more of like a tuck it in the back on the next property sort of thing. Mobius says, sometimes I raid my spice cabinet for seeds. Yes, we talked about this on a live stream that, I don't know, what was it called? Channel live. These garden foods will grow for free. We went through our pantries and we talked about what can you plant from your pantry. Okay, so this says have some Tiantian peppers that sprouted though. Cannot complain. Yeah, hit the replay on that if you haven't. The seeds of the mustard are black. Sorry. Yeah, the seeds are black. Yeah. Carol says, oh, so good then to kill my bad nematodes too. The plant is green. Okay, I was looking at the right thing. Yes, you can make mustard. You do it all the time. If so, that's so cool. No, that's kind of cool. Sorry, didn't mean to change your words. Very simple. I had to type it in specifically, and it was like, yeah. And you ferment the mustard? Well, geez, overachiever. No, I'm just kidding. That's the way it should be. Ferment all the things, right? Carol says, right. It got like volcanic hot from mild. And I walked out and they were all melted. So sad and funny. Wine mustard, honey mustard. The amount of mustards there are is lots. Yeah, 10 pounds of it. Better than vinegar, I guess. 10 pounds of mustard seeds is a lot of blooms. And then think about each bloom. Like if you plant one mustard seed, how many blooms does that produce? 4, we'll say? Or is it just 1? And then each one of those blooms makes how many seeds? Math. Can you ferment mustard and honey? The seeds or the already done mustard? So, well, okay, to make honey mustard, you mix honey and mustard together. So if you've made fermented mustard and you add honey to make honey mustard, that's your fermented mustard honey? Is that what we're talking about? Yeah, it's talking about what I said pretty much. Okay. Mobius, I ferment all condiments. I'm bad. No, that's good. That's where you're supposed to live. Carol says, yes, I have a bag of mustard, cover crop. Now I want to open the bag to check the seeds. Florida has its own mustard too? Yeah, you're thinking of honey mustard. Okay. Mobius says you can ferment the homemade mustard with the honey. Yes. DCBs, they must grind the mustard and blend in honey. Carol says, okay, no. Says, oh, why not? DC, it might not be true honey mustard, but it might help with the sinuses for cold and flu season. Honey mustard is one of my favorite salad dressings or dipping sauces for chicken. Yeah, DCB says. But no, I've never went through the process of making my own mustard. Oh my goodness, I just almost, this doesn't have the shelves in it, so it can easily tip. Don't bump that. Don't bump it. I should go now, actually. It's like, now you want chicken tenders? You know what I love doing? This whole week, I take chicken bites and I air fry them with crispy crowns, like the flat coin tater tot. And then I take a tortilla and I put liquid cheese on it, like a Mexican blend or queso, right? And then you put your chicken, dice it up with your season them well, tots and some lettuce, and I roll it up and have a burrito. It's a meat and potato burrito, right? I've been doing that every single day. Chicken tenders are also fantastic in a salad. I love adding crunchy chicken to salads. DCB says add a little vinegar and put it on a salad. Yeah, I should probably say goodbye. And then tomorrow we can hang out possibly. It all depends on my work schedule and my life. There's something new tomorrow I have to do, and if it tells me my body just wants to relax and not be doing this, then that's what should happen. So just gotta be subscribed so you can get the notification if I decide to do this. Carol says, I have done a Caesar salad burrito like that, but minus the potato crowns. DCB's, well, thanks for the hangout. Y'all have a great night. Yes, everyone, think about planting, get to planting, dream about planting, read a magazine about planting. Good night, Gandalf. I might see you around if there's another live open right now. I'll be on my phone in the chat type of thing. Carol says, guess it would be a wrap, not a burrito. I don't know. What makes it a burrito versus a wrap? What is the actual, like, difference? Anybody? Thanks for saying it was an awesome live and info. I feel like I didn't really have good info, but all the articles are in the description for y'all to read as you please. And I did not do a poll for once because I ran out of time and it was like, psh, you know what I mean? Okay, so he's not live right now, but he might go live again. Okay, Mobius says enjoyed planting tomorrow. I have a little list that's very long. I'm waiting on the earth to not be mud. At this point, like, we're gonna have good temps, but we can't prepare situations. The folding is what makes it a wrap versus a burrito? I don't know, right? Who has the answer to this? What makes a wrap not a burrito? Is it just the way it's folded? Josh, before we go, we were talking about growing exotic spices, whether it's the seeds or under the ground, like the rhizome, or you have a perennial. Do you have anything that you want to grow? If you're still around, if you want to put it in the chat quickly before we go. We'd had a great conversation about lots of things tonight. We learned about eating cactus. Carol, this is probably too early to ask you this if you're going live Friday night, if you're still here. Nothing to add tonight. All right. I know we talked about growing peppers to make powder for seasonings. Carol says, indeed, good night all. Make sure you hit the like and check out Shawnee's other lives and podcasts. Yeah, play some, what are those things called? Playlists? When you don't have anything better to do to help out the channel for watch hours. We are trying to get to 3,000. So that's what we're trying to do. I believe so. Ooh. Okay. Like we say, grow every day in every way. Learn as you grow. See you around.